All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another, lit book talk. And this is the children's book series where we talk to children's book authors and learn a little bit about the process behind them making their children's book and then putting it together, sharing it with the world, marketing, and any advice that they have for someone else who might be interested in doing the same thing. So if you are at all interested in that and you want to learn how can you, get to maybe where you want to be as an author, stay tuned. Please like, share, comment, subscribe for more similar content and enjoy. So today we have with us the author of the children's book, Mirror. I'm really excited about this. This book is written by Moashella Shortte. She's with us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Moashella.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm honored that you chose us, Mira, and me to be part of this talk. I'm super excited about the book and any opportunity to talk about the message about it in the book. It gives me pleasure.
That's so great. I'm happy to hear that because, in this day and age, I mean, there's so many children's books being written, particularly by authors of color, Black women and men. And I see this like within the last 5 years, an explosion of content. And I'm like, this is so good for my little girl. But I also want to know, a little bit more about like, how did you write your book? And then what was the message behind your book? I saw yours on Instagram in this like, there's so many blogs to promote like your books, but I saw yours and I was like, Mirror, that's different. And I was like, I see on the cover, this baby is looking into the mirror and it immediately, this is what made me write out to you. I said, oh man, I remember when my baby girl first like really recognized herself in the mirror. So I was curious about that. And then I looked at your book and your book made me cry.
Oh my God. Oh.
I haven't like I'm gonna reread it and then I'll put a review out there on Amazon. But like I was like, I need to know more. So tell us about your book, what inspired you, and also tell us about yourself, please.
Wow. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. And that was one of my hope was that mothers would see themselves in mirror and feel the message and see the value for sharing it with their children. And one of the things I've discovered in the past few months, or that I've given a lot of thought to, was how much mirror may be just as much for moms and women who are starting on their journey of accepting who they are and starting to really love themselves. I thought that mirror could do that too. It could be part of the tool we use to start on that journey or to encourage us to continue that journey. Which in my head is going crazy because there's so many things I want to tell you about, because since you contacted me, I've been thinking and writing, what's the most important thing I want to get out there. But I think that is one of them. Mirror is not just for the little girl or the little boy that we want to teach the importance of and value of loving ourselves and accepting ourselves in the skin we're in, because we're wonderfully created, and each of us in our own unique way is something special and marvelous. But like I said, one of the things I've been really thinking about is how powerful that message is for us as adults too. Because, the journey towards self-acceptance and self-love is not something that happens and bam, we're done, we're there. It's something that can start at any point in our life, and it needs constant work and attention. So, yeah.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
love that you just touched on that because obviously when a child reads a book, as a little one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 even,
Yeah,
they are usually accompanied by their parent. And the parent
exactly.
is going to choose the book that they think, oh, okay, that message is deep. But then they also like interpret the book for the child. And for you to see, like, this isn't just, looking in the mirror and like, oh, I see me. This is like, it goes deeper. There's a deeper message to it. I
Uh,
love that you just touched on self. What did you say? Self.
self-acceptance and self-love, like basically that's my message. um and I think it's especially important to me because it's a journey that I've been on, and I've consciously been on for I'd say for the past uh, maybe for the past 10 years. I've been really conscious about starting to love myself again, starting to value who I am, to really celebrate the things that make me unique. And in a lot of the things I write now, I've written a couple other children's books that I'm still playing with how I'm gonna put it out there, and what, who do I want to carry that for me. But I find that's the common thread in everything I write, in particular the things I write for children. It's really about valuing who they are. It's love. It's love at the deepest part, love for self. And I believe that once we learn to love ourselves and to see the value in who we are, the way we connect with other people is so much richer,
Yeah,
right?
it,
Like, don't you agree?
I definitely
it,
agree with
it really is. And so, yeah, everything I write and everything I try to put out there has that at the base. It's really about loving self, recognizing who we are, and what we want to put out there in the world. um how we want to connect with other people, what we want that to look like, is in a big way gonna be connected to how we look at ourselves and how we love ourselves.
it's such an important message, especially to
uh,
teach that message while the child is young, and have the parents also sit alongside the child, like, you
yeah,
look in the mirror, you don't just see you, it's a reflection of everything about you, and how
yeah,
how you are going to, like, share pieces of yourself with everyone else. Like,
yeah,
what do you want to share? What do you see? And I love that you have taken that idea and like expanded on it, because there are plenty of books out here. I love the market right now for children's,
me too.
like
Me
black
too.
black children's book authors, or just children's books with like black and brown faces or people of color. It's like it's so many of them. And you see, like, I love my hair, or my
I
skin
know.
is a brown skinned girl, and just all of these messages that are just like improving the self-esteem of kids. and
Absolutely.
and then you have Mirror out here, which is also doing the same thing, but it's just like, taking it into a deeper realm, because we all know what a mirror is. But it goes deeper.
We do, right? It's crazy. And what one of your questions was like, what technique do you use when you? 'Cause I really took to heart all your questions, and I have to say the way you put that together was really complete, and really made me think a lot more about my piece of work that I'm desperately wanting to share with others. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Because yeah, no, they were really great questions, really great, and and super complete.
That makes me feel good. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think you should. Because now I even, I put a lot of thought into this piece of work. Um, and really a lot of thought and went into it because it was something that was important for me, for my daughter.
Yeah.
Because Mara really started out as something, a desire to teach her this vital skill. It really is a skill, and it takes work, and it takes work a lot of work on the part of the parent and the people in the lives of these children. But that's part of why I thought so much about it. And long before I wrote it, I was thinking about it and thinking about how I'm going to teach this, because um, I spent a lot of the time, a lot of wasted time trying to shape myself into something other than what I was designed to
Mm,
be. And I didn't want that for her. I didn't want that for my boys. But I especially didn't want that for my girl, because I knew that the world was going to put a whole lot more on her to be something other than what, who she is. And who she is beautiful and wonderful. And I really wanted her to learn how to look at herself and really see herself and really celebrate those things she was seeing. And so Mira's been put into practice. It's not just something that I wrote to put out there. Initially was designed to be a tool for me to teach her about self-love and self-acceptance. And then once I honestly, it was when I heard her starting to recite the words. Like when I first heard the words coming out of her mouth, I went, "Oh my gosh!" And prior to that, my husband said, "You should share this. You should get this published." But I started moving forward on doing that when I heard her, and I'm like, "Oh my God, she got it!" Like the way she's saying it tells me she gets it.
yes.
And then I thought, wow, like maybe another mom could use this.
Yeah.
Maybe this will be of value to someone else. And that's when I decided, okay, let's see what it's gonna look like to put this out there. And
Wow. Okay. Wow. You just gave me so much to unpack because
I'm sorry, I get a little passionate about talking about this, and so stop me when I'm jumping all around too quickly.
no, no, not at all. You gave the background information for, what inspired the book. And that's really great because it started off with a conversation. Well, the idea that you wanted to make sure that she's aware of, self-love. And then it sounds like you had already started writing, or you wrote the words and had been sharing with her, but then decided to make a book out of it later. Is that how this went?
Yeah, basically on it, the so the idea behind the book, my desire to teach her from an early age that she is worthy of her own love. She is worthy and deserving, and um, should have the greatest love possible, love of self. That desire was always there. I was always in my back of my mind, how am I going to teach that in a way that she gets it? And then when she was just a toddler, we have like a wall of mirrors. Um, and it was close to my kitchen area. So she'd play there a lot while I was in the kitchen and I would watch her. And one day I really stopped what I was doing and watched her. And
Mhm.
I saw pure joy as she recognized her reflection. And I saw the way she was looking at that person like it was her best friend coming to visit. And I was just like, that's the thing I want. That's the thing I want her to hold on to for the rest of her life.
Mhm.
That pure joy when you recognize yourself. Pure joy at seeing her reflection. I'm like, that's the thing I've been thinking about. That's one I want to capture. And so I started thinking about it. And 2 days after watching and observing her experience joy in seeing her reflection, I woke up, it was like, I think like 4 in the morning. I'm not sure of the exact time, but it was in the wee hours of the morning. And I wrote Mara. And I wrote it in probably under 6 minutes. But so it seems like a short time to write something, but it's something that I thought about for a long time. And the way I wanted to say it became extremely clear in my mind once I got that chance to watch her, like really look at her, look at herself. Um,
Yes. I love that. I love to know about what inspired you. How did you get there? And I love unconventional ways of writing a book as well, because like, I have a little bit of that in my background as far as writing.
Right,
Like I don't have any like technical writing background,
right.
but like I went from literally photographs to writing a story. And it sounds like you also like you just went from like literally observing, admiring your child, but also wanting to make sure that this message was clear for her. Then you wrote the book. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I've read your books, both of them, and they're amazing, incredible. And I watched your piece about the artwork, and that really struck me because it's super important, the images in children's book, and how blessed you were to connect with somebody who got what you wanted to say and was able to do that for you. That they're beautiful books and the message is beautiful. So thank you for putting those out there and sharing like that.
Thank
It's a
you.
blessing.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much. I appreciate that. That's a major
absolutely.
compliment for me, because yeah,
Absolutely.
it all started off like, oh, let's share our story. Same like you, but also
Yeah.
in that message of just love of learning and
Yeah.
exploring to just
Yeah.
carry on forever. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for your
You're
support.
absolutely welcome.
I
You're
want to I want to ask you though about your book, and because I really teared up. I didn't like cry, but I teared up because you turn the page and you have dedication, and you have your children, and then you open the page, you see this little girl looking in the mirror, and then you go on, she grows up, and then she turns into like a little girl, like a young woman basically, and she's still looking in the mirror, but she's like progressed into other things that she's enjoying in life. And I'm curious, is this character was the character inspired by your actual daughter, your family?
absolutely. It inspired by her. All the images are created from actual photographs that I took of her. Um, every last one of them are from photos that I took. And that's the thing about Mara, is that it is, as she grew and developed, her acceptance of herself and her love for herself grew and developed too. And that's why I wanted it to be like that, where the child is growing, um, because we start to love ourselves a little deeper. There are more things we learn more about ourselves. And I watched her do that. I saw her, as she grew, look at different things, look at herself differently, but still with the same um, intense joy and happiness. So it was important for me to show that growth and development, not just in her, but also in the way she felt about herself.
Right. I can see that. Like one of
Yeah.
the pages where she's dressed like a ballerina, and she's looking at herself, and she's so happy. I'm thinking, hopefully this will be my baby girl in the near
Yes,
future.
yes. Absolutely.
The precious, like the imagery is really, it's precious. It hits home for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
mirror.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, I want to ask you now. Let's transition into getting the work done, because you mentioned your illustrations and how you used photographs. So how did
Mhm.
you manage to find someone to turn that into art for you? What was that like?
I have to say, the most frustrating process for me in this whole thing had to do with the illustration.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, with a children's book, illustration really is everything, right? And a mirror is a book of very few words. There's not a lot of text to it. So it was super important for me that the images were going to tell the story, that they were going to deliver the message, right? um And I started out with like leaving, like I went with traditional publishing, and it came with an illustrator. I didn't really get to choose a person. Um, so initially I thought I'm going to trust that person to understand what I'm saying and get it. Well, it didn't really work that way. And then but they were amazing in trying to accommodate me, and allowing me to say no, no, no 100 times. And that's when I resorted to, like, you know what, I have great photos of her that can do the trick. So then they accepted that they would take, I laid out how I wanted it. This picture will go with this. And they were able to turn those into the images that are now in the book.
Nice. Okay. So you might be a first for me. You said you went with a traditional
I
traditional
did.
publishing, huh? How can you explain, like, what was that like? How did you get in touch?
Okay, let me tell you something. When I wrote Mara,
Hmm.
my daughter was just months old. She was 6.5 when Mara was published.
Hmm.
So, so
Oh,
that
oh, wow.
that 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 explains everything. It took a long time. It took a long time. I did a lot of searching. As a first-time author, it's not easy to go that route. Not easy at all. So I like to call my rejection letters like my encouragement letters. I don't,
Ooh.
I after the 10th one, it was hurting so bad. I was like, how am I going to survive this? And everywhere I read, they're like, prepare, it's going to get probably in the hundreds. And then I read back the first 10 I got. I still have them.
Yes.
And I said, what can I see in these that's positive? What can I see here that I can use as a stepping stone towards surviving the next one? And and so I stopped calling them rejections, and I started calling them um, letters of encouragement to
I like
go
that.
on. It was 175 later before, and then once I got one, then I got a second one, and I was like, so now I have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that process took me longer than I thought, because I thought, gosh, I've waited already years to find a publisher to take this work. Now I got to be sure that the person I'm going to go with um, is going to be the right person to take my message out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so
Wow.
yeah, it was literally 6.5 years from conception to publication.
Wow. Wow.
Knowing the
But
truth.
I like the way you framed the whole process though, and taking what is a rejection letter, and it's a letter of encouragement. Keep going.
I needed to do that I really needed to do that to survive that process.
Yeah.
Like it's hard, and I have to tell you, a lot of them it's the same thing. It's like a copy and paste thing. Your work is great, it's just not the right fit for us.
Mhm.
um but some of them, they really put time and thought into it. Some of them really made me feel like, even if this takes another 6 years, I'm gonna keep going. Like, so yeah, it was.
You're so dedicated, but that's what you need in order for you to enter this industry, because like it's quite saturated, but then it's a little biased as well. I feel like
Absolutely.
yeah, the industry doesn't have a whole lot of literary agents even that look like you and I.
No,
So
no. And the ones that are there, as I've discovered, they're so bombarded
mm,
right now that, I mean, you're not even getting a reply back. I have to say that's kind of what my setup looked like. I was looking for Black agents and Black publishers in a big way, actively, consciously looking for that. But the ones that replied were very few. And when they did, it was to say, we're like overworked, we're not taking anyone.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely can be discouraging. I'm happy that you shared this though, because there are people who do need to hear that it's okay to get rejected 100
Absolutely.
plus times. You
Yeah,
know, just keep trying and you'll get
absolutely.
through. You-
Yeah, you will. And it depends on how you feel about your work. For me, I really wanted to share the message. It's why are you putting the book out there? For me, I was willing to wait because I felt like what I wanted to say with Mara, the message I wanted to share with the book was important. And so that it will happen in the time it was supposed to happen, in the way it was supposed to happen. And so because I believe so much in the message and the importance of it, I was willing to wait, to
Yeah,
grow my patience.
that's so great. Okay, I have a completely random question. I never even asked this one before, but your book it's in English,
It's
but
in English.
would you consider, or would your
Abs-
publishing company consider translating it to other languages as well? Like,
Absolutely. It was one of the things I asked. I've actually had a translator translate it into French because um, I live in a French province. A lot of my supporters are bilingual. My daughter is bilingual. My family is a bilingual family. So it's important for me, first of all, to get it out there in French. Canada is a bilingual country, and I want my whole country to to have access to this this message. More than a book, for me, it's sharing a message. So it was one of the first thing I talked about with them. And at this particular, my publisher, they don't translate at this point, but in my contract, i can I can get another publisher to translate it for me. So for me, I love that you asked that question. For me, it's super important, and I needed that to be clear from the very beginning, because um
you will
yeah
hit
we,
so many well, I mean, in English already you're hitting several markets, but with French, there's worldwide. French is everywhere. It's in the West Indies,
yeah,
it's in Africa, it's
yeah,
in
for
Europe.
sure, for
Like,
sure. Yeah, and I want it to be in other languages. One of the places where Mirror um did really well for some time was in the East Asian market, So, and I know in places like that, it's because it's seen as a tool for English as a second language, but I'd also like them to get the message in their language as well, in their languages for sure. So yeah, this is really important for me, and it's actually my next mission with Mira, is to get it translated in as many languages as possible.
oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely, definitely
Yeah.
gonna happen. I saw that as soon as I looked at it, but then also because you mentioned that you were in Canada, and in Montreal, where it's like French,
Yeah.
like, I was like, this book is definitely going to be released in French in the next several months, probably. Like,
I'm hoping. Honestly, I've actually put it out there um, through Facebook, saying if anybody knows of a French publisher, because we've actively been searching and sending it out. Again, I'm in the process of collecting my encouragement letters, but
love
to have it translated in French. But due to COVID, numbers on
it.
how it's selling and all of that are slow to come. So I feel like when I have some sort of information on how well it's doing in English, then I have a better chance at finding
Yeah.
a publisher that will do it in another language.
Yeah, definitely. And it has to be with another publisher. Like, you can't just get it translated and send that manuscript in French
No.
to your current publisher.
No. I actually, it's ready to go in French. It's been translated by a fantastic translator who understands the message, and that's important. I want when it's translated that because the message in Mirror is what for me is the thing, and so it's ready to go. So if there are any French publishers or agents for French publishers, let me know. Hit me up.
Yes. Yes. I'm sure if anyone is watching that and has watching this and has connections, please leave comments below.
S'il
Yeah,
vous plaît.
yeah, that was beautiful. My French is yeah, none.
I understand very well, but I'm really bad. I should be able to speak a lot more than I do,
Okay.
but I understand. I get it.
And your child is bilingual, or your
Yeah,
children bilingual, so
yeah.
that's a plus. So let me ask you, I did go onto Amazon and I was like, all right, let me see what format she has available. I see you have an ebook, paperback. I don't know, do you have hardcover too?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you
Hardcover
do.
as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have all the main
It's
formats.
covered. It's covered.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely good. So what
Yeah.
where else, is someone able to find Mirror if they're looking besides Amazon?
Well, I know that the big book carriers have it, like Barnes and Nobles,
Mm,
and in the for Canadians, it's Chapters and Indigo, and some other, like I saw it's Walmart. You can get it as well. Um, One of the really frustrating things for me right now is that not as many um, bookstores are carrying it in store, so you can order it online.
yeah.
There is a local bookstore that is carrying it, just one currently, Clio. I'm super grateful for them. They've been awesome and extremely supportive. But for me, it's one of the frustrating things, and I don't know if it has to do with the fact that my publisher is U.S. based. Um, and that's why their connections with the Canadian market is not as strong. But definitely, one of the things I'm wishing for this Christmas is for Mirror to be on the shelves in the bookstores, especially here, because I have this dream of walking into a store with my daughter and seeing my book on the shelf. You know, I've gone in already and said, we're looking for this book. It's a dream. It really is a dream. And I can't wait for that to happen. So I'm doing my own work. Like, there's a fantastic marketing team that's dealing with getting Mira out there, um, from my publisher, but I'm putting in the work as well. I'm a first time author and, fairly unknown. So, daily I'm calling bookstores and saying, what can I do to encourage you to carry it in your store? I'm sending emails out and trying to get it on shelves, but it's definitely one of the most frustrating thing for me. I guess disappointing is more the word.
I understand exactly how you feel, and I feel like some of it has to do with this pandemic
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because online shopping is just like it's
Yeah.
becoming the norm right now. So
Yeah.
it's just
For
like,
sure. For sure.
yeah,
I'll tell you a little story quickly. I know that I'm talking a lot and eating up your time,
okay.
but when I got the call from my publisher that they were going to release Mirror on May 4th, I literally had a meltdown. I thought, I don't want in any way this labor of love to be connected with COVID. I don't want that. I was like, and it was right at the start, we
Yeah,
were starting to
yeah.
understand the magnitude of this epidemic. And I was like, I don't want it connected. It's too special. And I literally asked them, I don't want you to put it out now. Let's wait. And then they were like, they they went away and then they came back and they're like, look, we're looking at the market and what's happening with books. You have to bring it out now. And it kind of sums up for me how I feel about 2020 and all the things that we've had to face. I thought that that was going to be the most disastrous thing that could happen to me as a first time author, to bring a book out now. Who's thinking about buying books? Who's going to get the message? And it turned out to be one of the most beautiful things that could have happened, because to be able to share my message of love
Mm,
and self acceptance at a time like this when people are feeling fear and sadness.
Yep.
Oh, what a blessing. Um, yeah,
Yes, this is true.
getting slightly emotional, but yeah, to be able to share that, to have some sort of an input to spread love at this time.
It's
And
important.
so yeah, for me it turned out to be a blessing, and I've lived that a lot this year, where I thought something was going to be detrimental to my mental state. and and then it turned out to be a blessing, a source of strength and growth. Yeah,
Yes. Yes,
yeah,
and learning how to just move with the times instead of like
yeah.
fighting against like the unknown factor.
Right,
I
right.
don't know what's gonna happen, so I'm just gonna like hide. But
Yeah.
really, like you said, a blessing in disguise is what.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure, for sure. And some of the feedback I get from people who've bought Mirror, and some of them, I don't know. Each of them for me sits in a special place in my heart, because every time I think somebody got it, they got what I'm trying to say. Every time I get that sense, it's it's such a beautiful, and all of the time and work and resources that I put into getting it out there is worth it whenever one person says, I get it and thank you. For me, it's everything. It means everything.
Oh man, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, it is. And congratulations, because yeah, I know this year has been like I said this earlier, a roller coaster, but it's ending in a way that is it's like a new beginning. Like so
Yeah.
many doors are opening for you, your family, for this industry, for authors like
Yeah.
us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, for sure. One of your questions, and I think one of the ones that I'm actually gonna read it, because it was like you asked, if you would just let me get it, says anything about that makes your book stand out. And I have to read what I wrote, because you've hit on it a couple of times. And I said, I think that the thing that makes Mira stands out the most is that it fits in so well with this incredible movement toward the positive depiction of brown and black children in the books now available to them. And you've hit on that a couple of times, and I think it's so true. As a mother of black and brown children, as an educator, um, it is so exciting to see all the books out there now that not only shows them where they can see themselves, but it depicts them in a beautiful way, in a way of beauty and hope.
Mm.
And like your book, for example, those images, it's so rich, and it fills me with joy to see, and there's more and more of them. It's crazy. My daughter has a wish list. Like, she's an avid reader and love books, and been reading for some time now. And um she has a book wish list, and even more than her Christmas list. And she likes Black Baby Books, and she loves what they put out there. Shout out to Black Baby Books and what they're doing for us as authors, and what they're doing for the community. Like, thank you, honestly. But she checks in on them, and she has a list, and she's like, my entire list is stuff I saw in Black Baby Books. And I look at our list, and it's so, it fills me with so much joy, because I don't know that before now I saw it possible that almost all of the books on her list has characters of children that looks like her,
Exactly. It's
but
really
not just,
beautiful.
yeah, and that they're portrayed in a positive light. That for me is key, and that's part of why I'm proud of Mira, because it's part of that. It's filling, that it's fitting in so nicely with this movement. And
Right, right. I'm happy
yeah,
you use that word too, movement, because I do feel like this is something. What is happening in 2020, and even from like the last 5 years, because I can see the dates of these authors or these children's books. with way more representation, black, brown faces. I'm just like, okay, so this is the beginning of something. Not the beginning of something, but this is something that, like, years from now, our kids are
Yeah.
going to look at, we're going to look at, and we're going to be like, we were part of that very
Yes.
big revolutionary movement. Almost,
Ah,
I don't want to be like, if anybody thinks I'm going crazy, let me know in the comments. But I swear this is like the Harlem Renaissance of the 21st century for children's books and
and
authors.
we're a part of that. Like how?
Moashella.
How honestly, like it fills me with pride. Like, there are two things for me. What that, the other thing is that it also fits in with this need for us to start really looking at ourselves. And it's key with this, with what's going on racially in our world right now as well. You know, I think when we learn to value who we are as we are, no matter the color of skin you're in, what language you speak, whether you're male or female or however you identify, I think once we start to love and accept ourselves, it's so much easier to face the ugly in the world. It
Mm,
really is. And so to have Mira, you know, sort of work towards filling that need as well as portray brown and black children positively, to fit in those two things for me gives me a lot of pride, um and not false pride, like real joy to
mhm.
be a part of those two things. Yeah,
Yeah,
it really is, it really is a proud
yeah,
feeling for me.
it's a huge accomplishment, and you should be proud because
Yeah.
your children are going to look back, when they're adults, and they're going to be like, "Mom, you're you're kind of a big deal. You're a big deal. You were one of those authors in the early 2000s." Like,
I know. Oh my God, I know. And and it's so beautiful to see the company that I'm with.
yeah,
When I sit there and I look around and I see the other authors who are doing the same thing, putting themselves out there, sharing a little bit,
yes,
it's great company to be in. It really is.
yeah, it is cool. Like, we're in a pretty cool community of, like, most of the people that I've talked with are educators, so it's really cool for me because I'm like, I get you. I get you as a teacher, and then also as an author. So,
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
a cool time to be around. And what did you just say? I was like, let's talk about that now. The Yeah, putting yourself out there, marketing. How do you feel about this? How are you sharing with as many people as possible, especially now it's the holiday season? Like, are
Yeah.
you using social media and a website, or like, what are you using to get Mirror out?
Well, really, social media.
Mm,
I'm not great at it. I've recently found a fantastic young uh, lady who's been helping me, and she gets me. So she's been helping me with all. You'll see a little bit of a shift in what my posts look like. That's because you could tell when she came into my life.
that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's really fantastic. But social media is my main platform right now for getting the message out about Mira. I'm using Facebook and Instagram quite a bit to put it out there. I do have a website, as well as being an author. I also work a lot with young learners. And so I use my website to promote not just Mara. I also wrote a chapter in an anthology entitled Healing the Little Woman Inside, that also spreads the same message as Mara, but targeting women who are trying to find the strength and courage to heal pain from the past, and to grow stronger. But I also currently I'm offering workshops um, to teachers and educators about ways to craft ideas to counteract racism within their classrooms. I've been delivering mostly to high school teachers, and so I use my website as well to explain what I do a little bit more there. So yeah, I'm not sure why I told you all that, but it's
Social
just
media
that what
marketing, like everything that you have to offer. Yeah, you
yeah
answered.
yeah. So it's so mostly it's social media and my website as well.
What is your website name?
So it's learning for young minds
Nice.
.com.
Very nice. Oh, that's pretty it's easy to remember. Learning for Young Minds.
Yeah, yeah,
.com. I love that. I love that you're offering workshops for um, combating, that difficult to have conversation for
yeah,
some people, especially some educators here in the United States. The majority of the educators are, well, Caucasian, so
yeah.
they're not really like feeling too comfortable to have this anti-racist conversation. So
No, shout out to the administration and our school boards here because they've been seeking me out to do this workshop. I take a slightly different spin on it um, when I deliver it, and I believe that there is power in the telling of the Black experience.
mm,
And I believe, and whether it's that it's in a children's book or we're offering a workshop to teachers, I believe that when that experience is told and told from the people who live that experience every day, there's a lot of power in that. And so my workshops are a lot of soul searching, but also I get them to that point by sharing my experiences as a mother, as a woman, as an educator, as just a member of the community, of the Black community, but also of my community as a whole. So it is a difficult conversation to have, but I think the way we go at it
yes.
can either make it that much more effective or make it another thing that the teachers are going to walk out and go, another waste of my time. So the way I approach it is super important for me. And plus I know teachers, like, I know how we think, I know what makes us tick. And um
It's the,
yeah,
it's the best start. Start with your inner network and
yeah,
your teacher circle. So it's good to start
exactly.
there. That's so
Yeah.
good. Okay, so I want to ask you, we've talked a little bit about brainstorming behind your book, getting the work done, bit of marketing. I'm curious now because you've mentioned this anthology or a chapter in an anthology that you wrote. I'm curious, what's next for author Moashella Shortte? Like, do you have more plans, children's books planned in the nearish future?
I do. I'd say there are three pieces that in terms of children's book, that I've completed. I'm super happy with, that are ready to go. Again, I'm okay with time. I'm okay with taking time. I haven't quite started soliciting um, representation for them, but they're ready to go, and I'm working on some others as well. But I'm also working on a piece that short stories. Um, no pun intended. Because I'm Moashella short stories. But um and I'm super excited about it. I have a goal of having 25 short stories um and I'm at about 17 right now. So that's what I'm working on.
Will
But
it be like a collection?
it
Like,
will be a collection, yeah, of of stories. And
oh, kind of
yeah.
like I'm going blank on that book. There's so many chicken noodle. Is it chicken soup for the soul?
Chicken soup for the soul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. That one. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, kind of like that. But I think there's so many things in my past experiences that make me who I am today. And I'd like to share them. And a lot of them are based on people. One of my richest collection is a necklace of incredible people that have supported me and been there for me and influenced me, you know as a mom, as an educator, as a human being. Um and when I think about them and the richness that they've brought to my life, I like to talk about them.
Sure.
I really would. Like the woman who introduced me, to books for the first time. She was a foreigner who came to live on my island, and had like a real interest in the children on the island. And Little Women was the book, and it was almost as big as me. It was the original Little Woman, and that was at 10 years old. It was one of the first books that I read. I could read cover to cover, and I carried it around like with such pride everywhere I went. And I'd love, for example, she's one of the people I want to talk about and in
Wow.
my story. So
So let me ask you this just to follow up on that, and then we'll move on to the final section. But I'm curious, what age would this be geared towards? What age group would it be for?
well, definitely this would be for an older audience for
Yeah.
sure. It's gonna, it's gonna be a real mixed bag. I love love. Not just love for self, but loving others. And so there'll be some pieces in there too about people that I got to experience real love with. And so, this is short stories is gonna be um for an older audience. I'm a teacher, and there are a lot and I'm a mom, and so I love writing children's books. But there are other parts of me that I want to share too, and
Sure.
that inspires me to write. And so, yeah,
That's awesome. I love it. I love that you're not just like limiting yourself to children's books. I don't know if limiting is even the
yeah,
right word, but like, you're open. You're open to
absolutely,
expanding and using your writing for, like, all right, let's spread a message for, like, coming of age students, or
yeah,
students
yeah.
students who are just entering like the workforce or university, or adults, young adults even, like.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, yeah, it's so rich. It's like we have to stop limiting ourselves, whether it's in our writing or the way we live or what we eat or, what music we dance to. Like I'm a real mixed bag. Like I really am. And so the things that inspire me are also very mixed. And so although I have a lot of material for children's books, I also want to start writing for young adults and for adults as well.
Some I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a feeling we're gonna do another book talk in like 6 to 12 months. But
Yay.
I'm gonna follow up on all of your endeavors, and who knows, you might even have like an audio book for this upcoming short story.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. It's one of my guilty pleasures right now. Like I love books and I love the feel of having a book in my hand, but I've discovered that there's something really beautiful about laying back and having somebody read to you. I love it. And and then sometimes I get the book and I start reading and I'm like, you know what? That will sound really good in my ear. So I'll go and get the audiobook as well. So
Yeah.
it's one of the things that 2020 has brought to me.
Same for me. Same for
Yeah.
me. I never, I've had Kindle and Audible, but I was like, whatever. But this year, I've actually listened to like four, maybe five books so far.
I
So,
know.
but
No.
also I'm thinking, how can I make this part of, the future for me, and see
Yeah.
happening for other authors, especially for the kinds of books that you're proposing on writing, I think
Yeah.
an audio book for short stories, oh my gosh, that would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
must. It's a
Yeah.
must. So let me ask you, we'll like start to close out here, but I'm just
Okay.
you shared a lot. So anything,
I talk a lot. I will be the first to admit it. I can go on and on.
but this was actually really, really informative, because I got to know more about like the process with traditional publishing with you, and foreign language, like the idea of like what it would look like if you were interested in having your book translated. So
Right.
this has been very useful, very
Thank
informative
you.
talk. But I would like to know, after all of this work and few years have gone by, like what have you done that perhaps you would do differently, or any bit of advice that you have for someone who hit roadblocks and received rejection letters but said those are rejection letters. Like, what would you say to encourage them?
Yeah. Well, really, I thought about it a lot. Like, what would I do differently? And I'm not sure that I would do anything differently. Like, I really I've learned how to be patient through this process. I've learned a lot about myself. And I think that that would be my biggest piece of advice to anyone is to really cultivate your patience and trusting the process. Whether it's when you're writing, like if it doesn't come, like one of the things I do is I'm working on a couple of pieces and I think today I want to develop that particular piece right now, but it's not coming. So I move to something else. And
Yes.
then I start writing and I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to say there. And be prepared. Like I am always with some means to jot down my thoughts. One of my favorite apps, and if you've heard me speak before, you probably have heard this before, is notes in my phone. I
Yes.
love notes. It's full, it's full. There are hundreds of pieces in it because I can write and I can also, if my hands are busy, I can say something into it and have it type it out for me. I have paper everywhere. I'm super like careful to make sure things are in a neat order. I write sometimes on my computer, on the tablet, on the phone. You have to be prepared. Be prepared for when inspiration hit you to grab it, right? You have to be prepared and you have to be patient. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be patient with the process. For me, those are the two things that I found the most useful in getting through this process, through the writing process, but also with publishing. Um, and also, I think the other big thing I learned was to trust my instinct. Trust my instinct if it feels good. If it feels good, and put value to what you think. Own your vision for your project, for that book, for that poem. Own it.
Okay.
um, it's one of the things I say to my kids when in sports or whether it's music. My son gets on the ice. I'm like, you need to own the puck when you go out there. Own your right to be on that ice and play your best game. It's the same thing I say to myself, and I would advise anyone else who wants to put their work out there is own your vision, own the message you want to share, the story you want to share. Own that. Trust your instinct with things. Like, for me with the images, like I said, like the illustrations in Mirror was a really big struggle there. And I had to remind myself of those things constantly, those three things. I had to remind myself, this is your message. This is your vision. You have the right for it to be done the way you want it. You have a right to tell this story your way. You have a right for those images to tell your story, and you decide if they're doing that or not.
Yes.
That's one of the things I had to remind myself. And the other thing was just really to be patient with the process. Like, I know I'm repeating myself, but I think it's super important
Yeah.
that you have to, and trust your instinct. If it doesn't feel right, if that sentence isn't sitting right with you, then it probably needs a little more work, and you need to step away from it and come back to it. It's simple. It's simple what my advice is, but I found that it was really key to getting through it.
Yeah. No, you say it's simple, but who is it not? It is. I mean, it's simple to say, like you can tell someone, "Oh, just do your homework."
Yeah.
But it's not that easy to do my homework. Like, yeah, like, because what you said, I love, and I wrote that down. Own it. I'm going to keep that. I'll probably put that on this post-it and put it on the wall in front of me because it's something that, like, you've written a book. This is your book, baby. You have uh,
Absolutely.
children, but then by writing your book, you just added another child to your load.
I did. I did. I'm a book mommy.
You
I
know?
call myself that. I'm a book mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And you know what we're putting out there, like even for you, it's though when I look at Mira, each story, each word makes me feel something, and it's really neat because I see my daughter doing the same thing. As she looks into it, she has a memory connected to something, to one of those images, or when I said that way, and so it's for me too. I needs to feel right. I needed to own it the entire way, not just when I wrote them out, but when I put it out there as well. And I think that's key. You
it
right?
it definitely is because like that's something that I even struggle with. Besides the patience part, being patient, whew, that was a huge hurdle, as it is for I'm sure plenty of other people. But once you finish, there's just so many
Hmm.
thoughts that go through your mind, and you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to share it. And it really boils down to, like, did you at least create it in a way that you feel like you can own it, like it's yours and that's your baby and you're proud
Yeah.
to share it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's really
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And you don't know who's it's going to end up with and what it's going to mean to them. For me, I go back to that a lot. But ultimately, am I happy with this? Is this what I wanted to say? Is this what I wanted to look like? Is it going where I want it to go? I have to own it, all of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No pressure. Yeah. No, but you did it. You did it, and you've got more projects ahead. I'm excited for what is in store for
Yeah.
author Moashella Shortte because you
Thank you. Thank you.
have a great message. And yeah, I'm gonna check out Mirror. I'm probably going to actually get the paperback myself. I just looked at the ebook, but
Right.
because it hit me in such a way that I was like thinking about my daughter, I'm like, yeah, I think we might need to get this one.
Oh,
Like,
thank you. No, it's thank you so much. It's definitely one of the things that, it's my greatest hope and wish is that parents will see themselves and their children in the message and in the imagery of Mira.
yeah, mission accomplished. At least
Thank
from my
you.
perspective. But
Thank you.
I know other parents and kids, they'll look at it and feel like a connection. I'm sure. Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
This is,
Means a
this has
lot.
been
It really does.
Yeah, my pleasure. This has been a really, really helpful talk. We went way over. I don't even know.
You're going to have a lot of editing to do here.
Uh, Yeah, no,
I'm
no.
sorry.
All I'm doing is just throwing in an image of your book, and if it's an hour-long book talk, that just means that it's super informative. So I'll just mention that into the title, like really informative, traditional publishing alert, like because you're my first, and this is
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
But it's a story that I think somebody who is, if they're writing a book and they're hitting all kinds of, like, walls, barriers, whatever, they could at least like feel inspired after listening to this, hopefully.
Yeah. I hope.
Yes,
I hope.
I'm not going to take up any more of your it is Sunday, right? Yes,
It
Sunday.
is Sunday.
Yes, I want you to, well, just enjoy the rest of your day. We're gonna keep in touch. I wouldn't.
Absolutely, I hope so. Like I said to you from the beginning, and it's crazy because as I was reading and looking at your stuff, I'm like, we have so much in common, and I really hope so. I think that there is a real beauty when we connect and support each other,
Yeah,
towards a common goal. I think I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I can't wait to see, where this will take us, what we could do together to spread the message about our books. And
yes, and
I'm wide open.
yes. Same here. Same here. Because it's all about like making sure that our future is bright and for our kids, and that they are
Absolutely.
prepared for whatever is coming their way. But how do we do that? Making sure that they've got a strong toolkit,
Yes.
books in their bags that, like, this little girl is a star, this little boy is going to be an astronaut, whatever. Like,
Right. Oh, for sure. It's so much more than just, a story. When they can see themselves reflected in these books, like it's just really a magical time for our children. It really is. So much. And I love it. It's so wide, the range. It's not just on one topic or
I
one
know
subject. It's science and math, and it's super exciting time.
this is
It's
a
an
movement.
exciting time.
I wonder what
It
the name
is.
of this movement is going to be called, because we are
Uh,
part of something right now.
oh yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Maybe we can even start acting on naming it. Like, what stops us from naming it?
Okay, well, let me write that down, and I'll be following up with you in email in the nearest future. Because yeah, we could be the ones responsible for, like, hey, let's name this movement.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Look, you've been amazing. You made me feel comfortable from the very first message. I have to say it's been putting myself out there has also opened it up to sometimes get messages that are not exactly what I want, and so I've been kind of shying away. But when I got yours, I felt instantly the connection, and I couldn't wait to write back. And so thank you for your interest, but also for being you, for being making it so easy for me to be comfortable and come on and talk for hour
I know,
hour plus.
I know, right? I know. Well, I appreciate your words. Those are very kind words, and I'm taking them to heart. And I'm happy that you responded, because, like I said, I looked at your book and I was like, mirror. I remember my baby girl recognizing herself in that little that little
Yeah,
goofy smile.
I know.
So I was looking forward to this talk, and I look forward to the future.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait. I can't wait to see where it's gonna go for us, on our own journeys, but also where it can go for us together. I think it could be really something great.
I know. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go. We'll brainstorm some names for this movement, and we'll,
Yes,
we'll reconnect in a few.
absolutely. Thank you, and enjoy your Sunday as well.
Same to you. Enjoy your Sunday, and happy holidays.
Yes, you too.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's been a pleasure. Take
Yes,
good care.
you too. Bye now.
Bye bye.